The sun barely peeked over the horizon when Emma Parker stepped out of her small apartment, clutching her worn leather bag and a cup of lukewarm coffee. The city of Brooksville was already alive, buses groaning down narrow streets, honking horns filling the crisp morning air, and 1,000 people hurrying toward something or away from something. Emma wasn't quite sure which direction she was headed anymore. Life had felt like a loop lately, same streets, same faces, same disappointments. She walked briskly toward the bus stop, her thoughts spinning faster than her steps. Her rent was late again. Her boss at the diner had cut her shifts without warning. And worst of all, she hadn't spoken to her sister in nearly 3 months after an argument that had started over something trivial but somehow grew too heavy to fix. Emma's life, once bright with dreams, had dimmed into shades of gray. As she stood waiting for the bus, a drizzle began, the kind of cold, persistent rain that soaked through clothes and settled into your bones. She pulled her coat tighter and sighed. Of course, she muttered. The bus arrived late and packed. Emma squeezed herself in, clutching a pole near the door, her mind already rehearsing the fake smile she'd need to wear for customers who wouldn't even remember her name. Halfway through the ride, a small boy sitting across from her dropped his toy car. It rolled across the aisle and stopped by Emma's foot. She bent down to pick it up and handed it back with a faint smile. The boy beamed at her, his eyes lighting up as if she'd given him something precious. "Thank you," he chirped. Something about that innocent gratitude tugged at her heart. She nodded, then looked away, embarrassed by how emotional she felt over such a small thing. The bus jolted forward, and the moment passed. Yet the image of that boy's smile lingered, like a flicker of warmth she didn't expect to need. By the time she reached the diner, Emma's shoes were soaked and her coffee had gone cold. She clocked in, tied her apron, and pushed through another day of endless orders, spilled coffee, and complaints about things beyond her control. Around noon, the rush began, construction workers, office clerks, and locals who came in daily for the same sandwiches. "Order up," shouted Jim, the cook, from behind the counter. Emma hurried to grab the plates. As she turned, her foot slipped on a patch of spilled water. The tray wobbled, and before she could steady it, a plate slid off and shattered on the floor. The sound drew every pair of eyes in the diner toward her. "Careful, Parker," her manager barked from across the room. "You break any more, it's coming out of your paycheck." Heat rushed to Emma's face. She knelt to clean up the mess, her hands trembling. The rest of the day passed in a blur of forced smiles and weary sighs. By closing time, she was exhausted. She hung her apron on the hook and stepped outside, letting the cool evening air hit her. The rain had stopped, leaving the pavement shining under the streetlights. She took the long way home, past the park where she used to sit with her sister, Lily. They'd laughed there once, shared secrets, planned trips they never took. Emma stopped by the gate, staring through the bars at the empty benches. She missed her sister, more than she wanted to admit. But pride was a heavy chain. Just then, she noticed an old man struggling with a cart full of grocery bags near the corner store. A few cans had rolled out, and he was bending down awkwardly, his hands shaking. Without thinking, Emma ran over and began gathering the cans. "Here, let me help you," she said softly. The man looked up, startled, then smiled, a gentle, genuine smile that reached his eyes. "Thank you, dear. These old hands aren't as steady as they used to be." "No problem," she said, placing the last can in his bag. He nodded gratefully. "You remind me of my daughter," he said quietly. "She used to help me with errands before she moved away." Emma smiled faintly. "She must miss you." He chuckled. "Oh, she calls every week. But it's not the same as having someone nearby." They chatted for a few minutes before parting ways. As Emma walked on, she felt something shift inside her, a small, almost invisible softening. The old man's smile lingered with her, the same way the little boys had. That night, Emma sat by her window, watching the streetlights flicker. She reached for her phone several times but couldn't bring herself to dial Lily's number. What if her sister didn't want to talk? What if she was still angry? The thought made her chest tighten. Finally, she decided to text her instead. "Hey, I was just thinking about you. Hope you're okay." She hesitated before hitting send, but when she did, she felt a strange sense of relief, like unclenching a fist she didn't realize she'd been holding. The next morning, her alarm buzzed at 6 a.m. She groaned, rolled out of bed, and glanced at her phone. There was a message from Lily. "Hey Em. I've missed you too. Coffee later?" Emma smiled for real this time, the kind that reached her tired eyes and made her heart feel lighter. She left early, wanting to enjoy the morning walk for once. The city felt different today. The same streets seemed less gray, the same air less heavy. When she stopped by her usual coffee cart, the barista, a young woman with pink hair, looked flustered as she dropped a cup. "Rough morning?" Emma asked kindly. "You have no idea," the barista laughed nervously. "Machine's acting up, and I burned my hand already." Emma smiled. "It'll get better. It always does somehow." The girl looked at her, surprised, and smiled back. "Thanks. I needed to hear that." Emma carried her coffee with her, her steps lighter than they'd been in months. She met Lily at the park bench, the same one they hadn't sat on together since their argument. Lily stood as she approached, looking both nervous and hopeful. "Hey," she said softly. "Hey," Emma replied. For a moment, neither of them knew what to say. Then Lily smiled, hesitant, but warm. "I'm sorry for how things ended that day." Emma's throat tightened. "Me too," she whispered. They sat down, and soon words began to flow, apologies, memories, laughter breaking through the cracks of silence. It felt like breathing again after being underwater too long. As they talked, Emma noticed a young woman sitting nearby, crying quietly on a bench. People passed her without a glance. Emma hesitated, then stood and walked over. "Are you okay?" she asked gently. The woman looked up, startled, then wiped her eyes. "I just lost my job. I don't know how I'm going to pay rent this month." Emma sat beside her. "I know how that feels," she said honestly. "It's awful. But it's not forever. Sometimes, the right thing finds you when you least expect it." The woman sniffled, giving a small, shaky smile. "Thank you. That actually helps." Emma smiled back, and when she returned to Lily, her sister raised an eyebrow. "Still helping strangers," she teased. "Guess it's becoming a habit," Emma said with a laugh. They spent the afternoon together, walking through the park, talking about everything and nothing. For the first time in a long while, Emma felt present, not caught in worries about yesterday or tomorrow, just here. Later, as the sun dipped low, painting the sky with soft gold and lavender, Emma passed a little bookstore on her way home. A "Help Wanted" sign hung in the window. Something about it caught her eye. She stepped inside. The shop smelled of old paper and coffee. Behind the counter sat a woman in her 50s with kind eyes. "Looking for work?" she asked. Emma nodded. "Yes, ma'am. I've got experience with customer service." The woman smiled. "Perfect. We could use someone with a friendly face. Can you start tomorrow?" Emma blinked, surprised. "Yes, absolutely." When she stepped outside again, she couldn't stop smiling. The universe, it seemed, had been waiting for her to make room for something good. That evening, she texted Lily, "Got a new job today. At a bookstore." Her sister replied almost instantly, "That's amazing. I'm so proud of you." Emma sat on her bed, her phone in her lap, the room quiet except for the soft hum of traffic outside. She thought about the boy on the bus, the old man with the groceries, the crying woman in the park. And she realized something: each of them had carried a little bit of her kindness forward, maybe into someone else's day, maybe even into someone else's heart. And all of it had started with a single smile. Weeks later, Emma was behind the counter at the bookstore when a familiar face appeared, the young woman from the park. She looked brighter, more confident. "Hey," she said. "I just wanted to say thank you again. I found a new job, and I think your words helped me keep going." Emma grinned. "That's wonderful news." The woman smiled back, then left with a wave. After she was gone, Emma turned to the window. The street outside buzzed with life, people rushing, laughing, worrying. She couldn't change the whole world, she knew that. But she could change a moment, a mood, maybe even a day. And sometimes, that was enough. The next morning, she caught her reflection in the shop window, hair a little messy, eyes a little tired, but a smile curving her lips. A smile that had once been small, almost forced, but had somehow grown strong enough to ripple outward and touch others. It wasn't grand or heroic. It didn't save the world. But it had saved a day, hers and maybe a few others along the way. And that, Emma decided, was more than enough reason to keep smiling.